taking a look soon at how we may schedule that this year. Beyond concerts, so this weekend, we are having a city cleanup. Saturday, we're meeting at 1 p.m. at Healing Waters Plaza. This is part of our Clean and Beautiful grant, which Main Street does along with the city with OJ. And this is kind of the community engagement part of it. So we're meeting at the plaza. We'll have trash bags and disposable gloves and some litter grabbers that people can check out, and then we'll just spread out and clean up around town, gather back at about 2:30 and take some photos and see how much trash we've got. Also on Saturday, it is Second Saturday Art Hop, so please go downtown, check out what's going on at galleries and businesses open late then. It's always a fun time. The weather should be nice. And then finally, we're really getting into the roll of things with the Fiesta planning, as some of you know, as you're part of that committee. We're starting to finalize things around music and schedules and whatnot. So we're excited to get the ball rolling on that and have another great Fiesta this year. And that's it. You guys know how to get in touch with me if you have any questions about Main Street. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Caesar. Mr. Steve Green.
Mayor, Commissioner, City Manager, referring to the Sentinel article, Renewing the Spaceport Visitor Center Promise, Bruce Swingle doesn't speak or represent the citizens of Truth or Consequences. You do. He is the Business Development Director of a real estate development company, not an elected official. Recently, Mr. Swingle talked about 3 different zones in TRC and their economic value in order of revenue generated. Zone 1, Dade Street to exit 79. Zone 2, South Broadway to Williamsburg. Mr. Swingle doesn't appreciate the intrinsic value to the city of our downtown Main Street Historic Hot Springs District, Zone 3, that cannot and should not be measured by dollars alone. A spaceport visitor center anywhere in Zone 1 does nothing to showcase who we are. Most communities have what we have in Zone 1, Walmart, lodging, gas stations, restaurants. It is our historic Hot Springs district encompassing 70 businesses such as hot springs, lodging, spas, restaurants, art galleries, unique shops, bookstores, healing arts, homes, a museum, a visitor center, a brewery, a movie theater, the Healing Waters Plaza, city offices, and the historic LaBelle Johnson building that make us unique and different. We are a welcoming tourist destination, and the assets that support who we are located downtown. Our city has lost population. It is our downtown where lasting impressions of our community are formed. Our visitors return time and time again. They buy homes, bringing back people who add value and economic stimulus to our city. The historic LaBelle Johnson building, using the LaBelle Johnson as its terminal and as the Sierra County Spaceport Visitor Center location. Promise kept, supported by a vote from our citizens and Virgin Galactic. Go back to Santa Fe, I ask you. Please contact our legislators and the governor's office. Ask them to fully fund the request on our ICIP to repair the LaBelle Johnson, so we can put back the Spaceport Visitor Center where it was and where it belongs. Thank you.
Okay. Did you forget to sign up?
Kathleen Sloan, Williamsburg, 708 Oliva. I have a question about the Talon septic. Do they have it's on the agenda. Do they have an NPDES permit? And if so, where does the effluent go? And where is their sludge going to go if there is sludge? And is that going to compete with the city trying to give away its sludge? Because I think the city leftover sludge goes into the trucks that are trucked at great expense to Las Cruces in our solid waste, and that would not be good for us. And let's see, has it been 3 or 4 years? How long has Talon Septic been using our sewer system? Because it's been very hard on our sewer system. As far as I know, we didn't charge him impact fees or, you know, and, you know, we're just about to undergo an upgrade to the wastewater treatment plant for 5.5 million. So, and you're considering fees going up 25% year over year for the next 5 years for solid waste to pay for this. So, I mean, the people appear to be in some way subsidizing Talon Septic. So please explain that when you get to that agenda item. And I'm wondering if it can be explained to me if Destiny Mitchell has a conflict of interest for being the head of the Chamber of Commerce. Business interests, that's a special interest and would indicate favoritism over the people in general. And in the past, I mean, is her school being given free space, and isn't that a conflict of interest in a city building? And please explain if that's so and if that's a conflict. And I believe she was also paid with Tier C public funds to manage Fiesta. Was that not a conflict of interest? Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to reports. Start out with City Manager Whitehead.
All right, well, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Everyone. Good morning. I'll just make a brief note. I wrote down some questions and we can answer some of those when we get to talent stuff. I think I'll be able to answer those. Okay, I'm gonna have a brief report. It's hard to believe that I'm gonna try a brief report. It's been extremely busy at the city for the last 3 weeks. It's the magnitude of the process and the flow has been incredible. So we continue to work hard at it and try to keep up with it. It comes in pretty fast, but we're making good progress. The team across the board is really working hard to accomplish the goals that you guys are setting forward for us. We look forward to that. Let me brief you a little bit on Foch Street. Again, thanks to Becca and Main Street. We've got a good process on every Monday. We put out a notice to every person that signed up for information. So we're briefing everyone that's on the street and certainly everyone that's around that's interested in the weekly progress. We're getting updates on a weekly basis, conducting many meetings. Foch Street is, as many of you probably thought when you started that project, it's a challenge. Lots of unknown infrastructure in the ground. Most of it, abandoned, but it's still there. It creates a problem, but we're working through getting that resolved as that goes forward. Probably the biggest issue that's come up that we're dealing with right now is the New Mexico, the gas company's main service lines that service that area ended up being a little bit shallower than they had anticipated and that we would have anticipated. When they were located, obviously you would assume they were at required depths, but they're not. So we're in a process right now. They're working to, as quick as they can, come up with a solution to then to get those lines in. The good part about the process for them is they will be doing most of their work through a process called boring. So we're able to continue working, but just need everybody to know that it is going to be a little bit of a challenge and we'll continue to work through that. We also, we had a couple of issues that were there before. We relocated a fire hydrant, again, trying to take a look at the area and areas, things that we can fix. On the corner of Foch and Main, there was a fire hydrant that was installed probably a little too close to the walk path, a little too close to the door of the business. And so when we opened that area, we were able to go in there and relocate that and put it into a safe spot. And want to thank everybody involved with that. The second big project we have going, Shovel Ready, is our first major water project. It's going. It seems to be moving very well. Believe it or not, we just don't hear much. So the contractor's working well. There are problems, but the contractor seems to be very aware of working in communities They're working very close with the residents. They're making good strides. And so when there's an issue, they seem to address it pretty quickly. Our water team is going out on a daily basis to meet with the general contractor, their field inspector, and then our field inspector from Wilson, so that we have a daily communication on that particular issue. And I've said a couple times, we'll continue to work with the schools, the hospital, the nursing home to make sure that we can maintain pressure. We think we've, again, we feel pretty confident that we've identified a valve that if we have a break in the bottom half of the town there, we can shut off, which will eliminate the flow of the water moving through there and maintain the pressure. So we'll continue to work. And then the mayor and I had a conversation with the superintendent, and we'll continue to keep that open channel of communication so that we try our best to avoid causing a situation that the school has to then let the students out. So we remain committed to that. The contract on Shovel Ready started so quickly, we didn't have a chance to really get our notification system going like we did on Foch Street. We really worked about 6 weeks in front of Foch Street, notifying, talking to folks, walking door to door. We didn't get that opportunity. The contractor hit the ground once they got permission to work, they started. But we have done that now in the back end. Your water department has gone. We've developed a letter through our PIO. So we've gone door to door on that entire street to hand residents the letter so that we've notified them of the project, the time, those items. So again, the contractor was already doing a good job, but again, we've taken that time and we've done that door to door. And then we'll go now and get in front of that process as it's going. Because remember, Shovel Ready has multiple pieces throughout the town. So we'll continue to try to make sure that we're communicating as best we can. An anomaly that's happening, it's happening on both of our projects, is people are really curious about what we're doing. We've been notified by the contractor. Easily on Foch Street, we can see it. We think we've begun to get it under control as we've kind of worked. And so the business owners are working and business people are able to get, and we've built good walk paths. We're trying to make that open, but there are many days when people decide to walk in and the construction equipment is working and they stop on the project and the equipment has to stop working. Yesterday, we had a situation on the critical water project where an individual was on the site and kind of exploring and investigating the depth of the trenches. And so what we ask of the public is, please find a way to give us some space, give those contractors the ability. We certainly don't want anybody ending up being hurt in a construction zone. I know it's new. I know we're excited, but please heed those signs. Those things are there for a reason, and it's important that we do that. That could cause us some delays and problems with the contract. So we're going to do our best to keep the public notified, but we also need a little help from the public where we can. Last week, we traveled again to the Municipal League. It's legislative session. I'm going to say, Mayor, I'm sure you have a report that you'll give today. I'll let you talk about the session and the work that we've done up there and where that's landed. But we did have a very good meeting at the Municipal League. One of the main carrots that we brought back was a program the Municipal League has put in place to look at roofs for the municipalities. So they've recognized from the insurance side of the house that there's so many roofs that because we're self-insured, right? So that it's such a problem that they've developed a department that will come out and actually do an assessment of our roofs, evaluate our roofs, find the proper and fair cost for repairing. Even though they don't have the funds, they're not going to pay for them. They will help us develop a strategy so that we can begin to budget and get these roofs taken care of, so they're not dealing with roofs, roof leak, damage from water as insurance claims. So our team talked about that this week, and we'll begin that process. We made the decision yesterday. We're going to fix, as you noticed, we're fixing the building, the annex. It was in pretty poor repair, and then when we got there, the roof is also leaking. We have about 4 leaks inside. So we're going to do a small repair on that to try to fix that particular building, but we'll put this process in place to hopefully get active on that. Talk a little bit about water and wastewater. I have some good news that I'll share with you. For our 4x4 water begins to operate in both water and wastewater. We have contracted with a provider that provides that service for multiple systems throughout New Mexico. He also lives here, Jesse Cole, with his business 4x4 services. That contract is up, and we'll be preparing a new contract to come back to the commission next at our next meeting. I would just like to say that process is working really well. Again, Jesse is on site 1 day a month in which he inspects our entire system. He goes to every location, and then he and I meet with our water supervisor and we go over any concerns that he might have found. He gives us work products and work ideas for the month. And then he's also available to come and consult. So when we have a major water leak, or the day that the last water leak where we had that problem, Jesse was called. He comes in and helps the team assess and find valves and those kind of things. So he knows the system. He's providing the service not only for us, but for other agencies. It's probably the wave of the future, because finding individuals with the credential of a 4x4, it's quite a license, and it's expensive. So this process is working well. We look forward to bringing that back. You've heard me speak to you over the last year as I kind of come up to speed. We ended up under an administrative order for the wastewater treatment plant. That order is primarily resolves around some equipment at the plant that's not functioning, the weirs, and then our headworks. So we worked together through the legislative session last year. We ended up with a grant. We have some money. We have the bond money. We've put together about a $2 million pot of money so that we can repair both of those. Once we have those identified, we were able to notify the Federal Environment Department of our plan. We created a work for it. We're going to get started on those. I think what I'm most pleased to tell you is I received a letter. Once we submitted our final plans, it was due the 2nd. We got it to them by the 26th of January. After review by our technical staff, the materials you have provided have been determined to be satisfactory response, and the administrator of order is hereby closed. So the City of Truth or Consequences is no longer under an administrative order for our wastewater treatment plant. However, we have the plan now. We just have to close the door and get those things done. We'll be finishing up on Morgan Street. You know, we have those apartments coming on. We have a sewer line issue there. There is no sewer line in a major portion of Morgan. We did find a piece towards the end. The private developer has a private sewer line on that property. We've worked with our engineers and have developed a plan for us to create a connection so that the private line will become active, and they'll be able to hook up the houses and the developments they want. And then we'll be able to hook it to our sewer. We're excited to that. We'll be finishing that up, and then that'll get that developed. They have 4 new apartments, and then we expect that they'll be bringing the next set of plans to continue to build housing and rental houses for our community. And with that, I think I will stand for any questions. Anybody has anything?
No. Anybody have any questions? That's good.
And then what I'd like to do is recognize our police chief and let Chief Tavison come up and let you know what he's been up to.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mayor, Commissioners. As promised last commission, the time before, I told you that I'd be preparing a plan, 2025 crime trend for us, so that we get a little bit of a better understanding of what we've dealt with. This report's going to reflect on some of the 4-year analysis since 2022 on certain standards, and so you'll also have copies of this available to you if you guys need it for down the road. So in this packet, it's comprehensive analysis of crime statistics and law enforcement activity across violent crime, property crime, and police operations for the year 2025. At a glance, and we'll go more in depth on these topics here. The department fielded 11,951 calls for service in 2025. They had 269 arrests throughout the year and conducted 2,902 traffic stops for 2025. Violent crime incidents showed varied patterns across different categories in 2025. There was nothing that really stood out as specific to it. It was pretty much all over the place, kind of like our crashes. Well, some categories saw decreases, others experienced increases compared to previous years. Understanding these trends help us identify when we need to do directive patrols and how to try to combat some of these numbers that we're looking at. Assault cases showed a decline trend from 2022 to 2024, dropping from 59 to 49 incidences. However, 2025 saw an increase to 56 cases, representing 14% rise from previous year. So this uptick obviously is going to warrant continued monitoring and potential intervention strategies for us to try to address these. Assault incidences, the way the crime statistic reporting, batteries are included in these trends as well. On this graph here, this is a 4-year period. Domestic disturbance calls have shown a significant downward trend, declining from 187 incidences in 2023 to 134 in 2025, representing a 28% decrease and marks the lowest in the 4-year period. The reduction may reflect improved community resources and intervention programs. I know we work with our domestic violence shelter quite well. There's been some other cases and laws that have passed that have maybe attributed to this, the red flags, some of the red flag laws and domestic violence protection orders that have been implemented that may have helped to decrease, to show these numbers. Breakdown of the violent crime category. As you can see, the assaults, they were slightly up from previous year, from 56 to 49. Child abuse cases were down from 11, or up, down from 11 to from 15 in 2024. Domestic violence, again, 134 cases in 20, down from 165 in 24. Fights, these could be public affairs fights, and could include school as well, but this is just the total number of fights. 37 incidences in 2025, down from 40 in the previous year. Sexual offenses and rape cases require careful attention and sensitive handling. In 2025, rape incidences increased to 4 cases from just 1 in both 23 and 24, while sexual offenses remained at 4 cases, down from 5 in 24. Now, so these are initially called in, so we'll get these from dispatch, and during the course of the investigation, we'll determine whether or not there's evidence to take it to court, and whether the DA is going to pick it up based off the evidence that's presented to them. And so these numbers do not reflect adjudicated numbers that we've dealt with, just calls that we've investigated. These crimes have profound impacts on victims and communities. The data underscores the importance of continued investment in victim support services, prevention, education, and investigative resources. Property crimes, this is a pretty big portion of what our calls are. Property crimes represents a significant portion of overall criminal activity, with 405 total cases reported in 2025. The category includes auto burglary, breaking and entering, burglary, shoplifting, theft, and vandalism. Understanding these patterns help law enforcement allocate resources effectively. And so these are numbers that we're reporting federally as well. And so this is what this is based off of. So as you can see, property crimes over a 4-year period. After the 477 incidents, 23 cases dropped to 364 in 2024, and then they're slightly up again in 2025 to 405 cases, indicating an 11% increase from 2024. So obviously there's going to be some emerging challenges in property crime prevention. Auto burglary and theft decline. They dropped dramatically in 2025, falling from just 15 cases, or to just 15 cases from 34 cases in 2024. 56% reduction, marks the lowest level in 4 years. Enhanced vehicle security technology and targeted enforcement efforts are likely to contribute to these positive trends. Breaking and entering incidences nearly doubled in 2025, jumping from 32 cases in 2024 to 60 cases. It represents an 88% increase, the highest level since 2023, when 67 incidents were recorded. The surge demands immediate attention and enhanced prevention strategies. The department, this is why we, as you know, this area, we have a lot of snowbirds, so a lot of times they'll come in from being gone, they'll come home to a residence that's been broken in, and it's quite after the fact. And so as far as investigative purposes, it's hard for us to to gain or obtain any kind of evidence that over time would have been destroyed with the weather and just natural occurrences. So it's a little bit more difficult for us to adjudicate these cases and get convictions on them. So these are just reported on. As you can see from 2022, that was our baseline year, 21 incidences, and now 2025, most recently, 16 incidences. We've also, as a department, we've implemented if there's any kind of camera, personal cameras that are at residences, if they want to register them with us or let us know that they're available to us. It helps with potential surveillance footage in the event that a residence is broken into. Burglary incidents has remained relatively stable in 25 with 33 cases, representing a modest 3% increase from prior year. This consistency suggests prevention measures and maintaining effectiveness through continued vigilance is necessary. The 4-year trend shows fluctuation between 25 and 40 incidences annually, with 2025 falling in the middle. Shoplifting, this is one of our biggest areas that we deal with. Larceny shoplifting cases surged from 63 incidences in 2025, up 75% from the 36 cases before. Represents the highest level in 4-year period and signals a growing challenge for retail business and law enforcement. The increase may reflect economic pressures, organized retail crime, and gaps in loss prevention strategies. General theft incidents remained elevated in 2025 with 203 cases, representing a slight 2% increase from 199 cases in 2024. Theft consistently represents the largest category of property crime, accounting for approximately 50% of all property offenses that we deal with. Vandalism and graffiti. I know we've dealt with this on the city level. Vandalism and graffiti incidences remain stable at 31 cases in 2025, which matched the previous year. This represents a significant improvement from the 66 cases that were reported in 2022, which reflects a 53% reduction in the period. Community cleanup initiatives, enhanced surveillance, and rapid response protocols have contributed to maintaining these lower numbers. At a glance, when you put that on paper, that's what it looks like. Theft being 50% of property crime that we deal with, followed by shoplifting, breaking and entering, burglary, vandalism, and auto theft. Beyond responding to crimes, law enforcement conducted extensive proactive operations in 2025. Traffic enforcement arrests and citations represents critical components of maintaining public safety and order. We have programs in the school that try to help preventative. We have community events, proactive policing patrols, and different things put in place to try to change some of these patterns. Traffic enforcement operations. Officers conducted 2,902 traffic stops throughout 2025, averaging approximately 242 stops per month. These stops serve multiple purposes, including enforcement, education, and crime detection and prevention at times, if it's a deterrence. 1,648 citations were issued, representing approximately 57% of all traffic stop citations. Of all traffic stop citations address violations ranging from equipment failures all the way to speeding. Officers had 13 DWI arrests in 2025, removing impaired driving from roadways and potentially preventing serious accidents and injuries. 269 arrests for 2025. Law enforcement made 269 arrests 2025, representing successful investigation and case clearances across violent crime, property crime, and other offenses. This arrest total reflects the department's commitment to holding offenders accountable and maintaining community safety. Arrest requires substantial investigative work, evidence collection, and coordination with prosecutors to ensure successful prosecution. Now, a lot of times cases are brought to the prosecutors and they feel for one reason or another that the evidence isn't there. And so they're the ones that ultimately have the final say in whether a case is fully adjudicated and put through the processing board. And so if we have, regardless of whether it's a major crime, violent crime to shoplifting, if they don't feel that it's there, they're the ones that have the ultimate say in whether or not they're going to prosecute. And they usually will give a declination letter to make that decision, or when they make that decision. Law enforcement responded to 11,951 calls for service in 2025, averaging approximately 996 calls per month or 33 calls per day. These calls encompass emergency response, non-emergency assistance, welfare checks, and community engagement activities. With that, I say for any question you may have.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Questions? Report. I have a question.
No questions?
So, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So it's a widely accepted premise in law enforcement that drug abuse, alcohol abuse is a contributing factor to many things like theft, assault, burglary, domestic abuse, things of that nature. What is your indication about drug abuse in this community? Is there any trends or anything that we need to be aware of?
I would say it's consistent with that theory. We do have methamphetamines that are out in the community quite a bit. As you know, that it's a terrible drug. It does change people, and we've had a lot of theft cases that are associated with that. They'll go, they'll steal, they'll try to sell it so that they can feed that addiction that they may have. Fentanyl has gone down a little bit, and so that's positive because we were seeing more overdoses and things like that nature with fentanyl, but it's still out there. It's not as in abundance as it was previously. But methamphetamines just seems to be one of those that is a game changer for us. It's very difficult to stay ahead and change that mindset once they're addicted to that stuff. But yes, sir, it is a big factor in some of those thefts.
Has there been any trends of reduction? I know that it's been drug interdiction has been on the news quite a bit, especially stuff coming across the border. Have you noticed any decline or any change?
I feel like there's probably been a decline just because of policies that have been enacted through the state that make it more difficult for law enforcement to make those kind of interdiction cases. And so there's probably been a decline on our side, on the state, on a local level. I know state and county, they work in the interstate, they may see different amounts traveling through the big egress there, I-25 into Albuquerque. But for us, the interdiction part slowed down quite a bit. We haven't had as many drug cases as we have in like 22 when I first took over. But yeah, it's still out there. It's you know.
Do we actively work drug cases, or do we just kind of wait to see what happens and then take care of it?
If we get a case, we'll work as far as we can. The threshold, we used to try to transfer things over to the feds if it met their threshold. That threshold has increased, and so the majority of those have fallen back on us. And so we work with the prosecutors to try to get those cases prosecuted. So there's some challenges, the new case laws out there that make it a little more difficult.
Do we share information with the sheriff's department and other agencies?
Yes, sir, we do.
Back and forth so that it can be more effective? We
do, yes, sir. Okay. State and federal.
All right. Okay, thank you. Any other questions? All right, thank you, Chief.
Yep. Thank you, Chief.
Mayor, members of the commission, I'll call on our department heads. So as you know, every business meeting that we have, we're going to have 5 department heads come and give you a report. So let's start with solid waste. Cindy?
Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, City Manager. I have a brief report for you guys this morning. A couple weeks ago, January 23rd, the department hosted a public tour of the recycling facility for members of the recycling committee and the public. We were pleased with a strong community turnout. This session included a comprehensive question and answer, followed by a live cardboard recycling demonstration. We illustrated our operational processing capabilities. And I think we all had a good time. Another thing is, in collaborative effort with the streets department, we have completed the installation of 12 new deterrent signs in identified hotspots, including Poplar Street, Morgan, and off of West 9th. Our team has provided signage and worked with the streets department in strategic locations for the signs placement. Streets then did a wonderful job installing these signs, and we would like to urge residents to remain vigilant. I'm sorry?
No, go ahead, sorry.
Vigilant.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you witness illegal dumping, please report it to law enforcement to help us maintain a clean community. We also want to talk about residential waste collection practices to ensure efficient service and compliance with city ordinances. We would like to remind residents of the following polycart placement protocols. Placement window: containers must be placed curbside by 6:30 a.m. on the scheduled collection day or the evening prior. We have route variability. While routes typically run between 6:30 to 3, exact pickup times fluctuate due to safety briefings, mechanical maintenance, or route optimizations, such as doubling up a route on a heavier workload day, such as Wednesday. It's a very big load for a very big route for our drivers. And if we need to kind of consolidate the two so we can get the drivers back to do maintenance, cleaning out the truck, washing, greasing, we'll do that as well. And we'd like to remind the residents that they should avoid timing their driver based on typical arrival, as routes may be reversed or doubled to improve the efficiency. I mean, your actual pickup time can vary, but it's always between 6:30 and 3. The same rules apply to holidays. Us at the Solid Waste Department only observe 3 major holidays where no collection occurs. That's going to be Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's Day. All other holidays, we have drivers out collecting commercial and residential waste. A great example would be this upcoming holiday, Monday, which is President's Day. We'll be closed to the public, but we're going to be still collecting both commercial and residential waste. And it'll be the same rule, 6:30 a.m. or the night before, and we'll have your trash picked up. And with that, I stand for any questions.
Thank you. Questions, comments?
I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
So I drove by Riverside the other day and I saw a trash can that was clearly snow cone. Does the department or have anything in place where they can maybe like put a little sign on the thing that says, we cannot empty this if it's snow cone, can you please put it in separate loads or something like that? Do we have any way to let the public know that they won't be picked up if it's a snow coned over?
We don't have anything in place when it comes to putting a note on their can. It is in the ordinances that snow coning is not allowed. Depending on the severity of it, our driver will either pick it up or refuse it, and then we'll get the call. And that's when we explain it to them. We'll go back to pick it up. But we like to make sure we can give the customers the ability to ask us, talk to us. We can inform them, educate them, and then take care of it from then on. We do have some policies and ordinances.
Thank you.
Okay. Questions?
Thank you so
you.
much. Thank you.
All right, let's hear from Alona in Human Resources.
Good morning, Mayor Pro Tem. I just have a couple of things today. Yeah, better? Yeah, okay. So we currently have 7 positions open, with 1, possibly 2 pending, and we are currently interviewing, we're going to be interviewing this afternoon to fill one of those positions. So hopefully we'll be down to 4. In November, we hired a finance specialist. She is going to be doing the bulk of the payroll process moving forward. Her name is Karina. She hit the ground running and she's doing a great job. I will be moving forward with preparing the part of the pay study for the exempt employees. I'll be following pretty much the same process that we did for the non-exempt employees, making sure that the positions are placed correctly and the employees are placed on the highway correctly and going so forth. I've been in contact with Ballant, the company that did the pay study, and I'll be reaching out to them for guidance if needed. In the last 4 years, prices for benefits and the mandatory para contributions have increased for employees. I found out yesterday that para will not be increasing this fiscal year. But for benefits in January, they rolled out a half year's benefits. So the employees' benefits program will end at the end of June, and then the state is restructuring the benefits coming July, and that's to align with the fiscal year instead of the calendar year. So employees will have more options come July, and hopefully they'll be in open enrollment. They said March, but I'm guessing more later towards July. And then some goals that I'm going to be working on this year is building out a training program, updating policies, and then finishing up job descriptions. And that's what we're doing. I'll stand for questions.
Thank you. Comments, questions? Thank you for that report. 7 positions open is better than it was.
Yeah.
So good job in a positive move. Great. Thank you.
And Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, just to support the decision that we made last year when we did the study, right, was to take care of the kind of the lower end, those employees that were working by the hour, and then we would consider and then do the salaried employees. So we're on that trend, and that would be a full presentation to you during the budget process. So again, Alona will prepare all the information, and then that'll be what we'll interject into the budget. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Our final report today will be from our finance department.
Good morning, everyone. I wrote a letter. Dear City Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners, my report today. The city recently completed the audit for fiscal year 24-25. It was successfully turned over to the state auditor in time, including the federal single audit. We are now waiting for the state auditor to accept the final audit and to publish prior to releasing any further information as required by law. I would like to extend my gratitude to the entire city staff as they were very supportive in fulfilling this process. Ms. Karen Salcido, our accounting officer, has successfully completed second quarter reporting to the state, which in turn has been fully accepted. The finance department is committed to ensuring we continue to exceed our expectations of the past and move forward to continue professional growth to the future of the city. We are fully staffed with the payroll specialist departure. We now have redefined positions with Ms. Karina Gomez as our finance specialist. She has exceeded our expectations and has taken on multifunctional tasks to assist with the office needs. As I reported to the department heads during the recent meeting, which was held last Wednesday, the mid-year trend is on point with the departments staying within budget. We have a couple of departments we will need to adjust accordingly, including the portions from the enterprise funds for their part in the expenses for utilities, insurance, and other coverages, including the administrative cost, which will be placed on a future bar once the reviews have been completed and calculated. This process will then bring the general fund back on the revenue from the expenses the fund has been covering. Our next phase will begin the budget process for the new fiscal year 26-27. The finance department will be conducting a training in the Tyler system for pre-budgets on January 24th. There will be 2 time slots for the course, one at 8 a.m. and the other at 1 p.m., either via Zoom or in the at the library branch for more classroom-like settings. I have sent out an email to invite the commissioning board to participate and gain an understanding of the new process prior to the pre-budget review. I will stand for any questions. Thank you.
When do we expect to hear back from the state auditor?
Well, they were delayed because of the extension, and we were advised that it probably won't be time soon, so I don't have an answer.
Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioner Glines, I would just indicate based on last year, we didn't receive the audit till probably August of last year, and it was timely filed in December. So I would anticipate over the summer is probably when we would get the notification that we could then review it. That seems to be about their trend on that.
Once it's accepted, they'll publish and then it'll come back to commission.
So we've completed the budgetary process. That means that we'll be eligible to apply for funding and things of that nature, or do we wait until we get the results of the audit?
I apologize. Can you rephrase the question?
Well,
Just budget.
since we completed the budgetary process, we met our deadlines. Does that keep us eligible for application of additional funds?
Well,
Or do we have to wait until we get the results?
It depends on the funding source you're requesting, because there's certain funding sources that require the audit.
Right.
And then some don't. So it just depends based on that.
Yeah, for instance, we're going to be applying for Colonias and other
Absolutely.
things.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission, you would also have, and we've had presentations where the board and those sitting on that board would say, are your audits turned in? We have the ability, if you go to the state auditor's website, it will indicate that our submission of our audit is timely.
Right.
And we're current. So even though the findings, Jocelyn would be correct, we can't talk about the findings, we can't go over it. We couldn't give that to that board.
Right.
But we would be able to indicate that we are current and we are timely on those two. If we were applying for a grant that asked that, because we do get that question asked a lot. Where are your audits? That's an important thing. That's why Jocelyn was, very focused on getting that in on time, because it's a big trigger with grants and those processes. So with confidence, I tell you, we're timely and we're able to continue moving down the road with anything that we would need to apply.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next report, I'll just wrap. We also had, the library was due to be here today and I couldn't get there on Tuesday. So we've agreed, we'll just kind of go back over the library at the next quarter. Pat and the staff are doing a great job over there at the library. And then the golf course was also due to be here today. They're just busy. It just would indicate, the positive trend continues to work forward. We've really identified, I think all the sprinklers are now exposed, found, almost operational. They've replaced a controller. So this summer we should have a majority of the sprinkler system working on the electronics like it should. We have one pump down, is at the shop getting repaired, but the second pump is working. So just across the board, the trends seem to be very positive there, and we're hopeful. Plays up. We're seeing people out there. I was there Saturday in the morning, and there was a lot of folks out there. And then yesterday, I stopped in the evening, and they were there till about 6 o'clock. The high school golf team is now preparing for their season, so those kids were out there. So, your golf course is it's busy. So
Good.
With that, I would stand for any last questions, and that would wrap up my report.
Thank you, sir. Any further questions? All right, having none, we'll move on. Let's go on to city commission reports. Anybody have any stuff? Go ahead.
First I wanted to say that we've spent a lot of time in Santa Fe in the past 3 weeks, and I'm gonna let Mayor Heffler report on our activities there, but it was good to meet with our legislature and with the governor's chief of staff. So it was very interesting to see how the process works. I was happy to be there. As the commission liaison to the Tier C Recycling Committee, Sustainable Tier C, we're working on launching an educational campaign informing the public of what items can be recycled. We had a wonderful open house at the sanitation department on January 23rd. It was very well attended. It was funny to see a longtime pro recycling advocate say, well, I didn't know you could recycle that. And so really getting the word out there education wise for 2026 is something that committee is really committed to doing. As the commission appointee to the Sierra County Recreation and Tourism Board, I attended the first meeting there January 6th. I was excited to meet all the players on the board. They meet quarterly, but they seem to have to be very involved in tourism and recreation in Sierra County. So I'm glad to be a part of that. And then on January 29th, I met with the Coronado Resource Conservation and Development Board. I've been their liaison from the commission for the past 4 years. Continuing that, they have a lot of projects coming up, mainly the Turtleback Trails Network. They're working alongside with that. And getting us funds and inviting the commission to the Dam Owners Conference, which is the first week of May. And I would really like to see someone from the commission or the city management, someone to go to that. Very educational and informative, and Mary Jo says hi. That's all I got.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Hefner?
Yes, I just wanted to say it was an honor representing the community up in Santa Fe. I think it was successful for us here. Like mentioned, the mayor will update you all about that. It is really interesting to see how things work in Santa Fe, how much efforts and work they put in. They really running around everywhere and here voting and here also here trying their best to be there for us. And I think here we have good representation up in Santa Fe. And it was a very informative event. And here we learn a lot, and here it was amazing to go and represent the city. Also, like always here, it is here our top time as well this Saturday. And I hope and I want to invite everybody to check us out and to come to downtown and see here what galleries and different businesses are providing for our guests and tourists and everybody. And it is also Valentine's Day, and so it is a day of love. And yeah, I hope here to see you all out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Kleins?
I was also proud to go to Santa Fe and represent our community. I'm learning a lot still as it is. I learned a lot about how our legislature actually operates, as Hovner said. The speed at which they're moving is impressive, to say the least. I'm glad they fit us in, if anything. They actually sat down and listened to us. It was rewarding also. What I've been up to the start of this month, I got a new baby, so I'm pretty busy. But the Sierra County Arts Gala on February 6th, that was really impressive. It was their 30th anniversary. It was like a great exemplary of downtown and the community event itself. Grapes Gallery is fantastic. We had a good time. It was just a great overall representation of our community. I really enjoyed going to that. Right now I'm going through the New Mexico Municipal League PowerPoints that was sent to us. And I'm just trying to learn at a rapid pace while I'm actively fulfilling my seat right now. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'll keep mine pretty brief. I've made 3 trips to Santa Fe so far, 2 with the commissioners, with the majority of our commissioners, and 2 with City Manager Whitehead. It's amazing to me how things change from one meeting or one trip to the next. So we have to constantly stay in contact with our senator and our representatives because they have so many things going on at the same time. We have to make sure that they stay on track for us. And our representatives and our senator have various representations in our community. For instance, Rebecca Dow only has 12% of our community in her district, yet she's really supporting us. So what I'm hoping for is this, and for the fruits of our particular visits. We spent some time with Chief of Staff Diego Arencon for the governor's office. We made a heavy push for capital money in the line of the sewer plant. If you remember, the governor gave us $1 million last year. We have some bond money that we may throw into it. The goal is, if we can be successful in getting some additional capital money, is to not have to increase fees. And so we're working really hard to get ahead of the game so that we can get several $1 million for the sewer plant so that we can make our improvements. And so, knowing what the goal is and how we're going to get there is really important. So we made these visits. I did follow up those particular visits. I sent another email to Chairman Arincon. I also sent an email to our lobbyists asking them to follow up. And we're making a strong push to try to get support of this $3 million for our sewer plant. I think that's important. So this is a short session. Having only made 3 trips, I guess is okay. Next year is a long session. I'm sure we'll make more. So that's the major part of the report I have today. In addition to that, I've been corresponding with Ayla Al-Hawley. She is the congressional field representative for Representative Vasquez. Manager Whitehead, she wants to come to our community on Friday. Perhaps we can find a few minutes to meet with her. The former field representative is the one that we were working with for Clancy Street. Remember, we have $1.5 million in the hopper. It's at the federal level. We haven't been informed yet if we've received it or not. We haven't been informed yet that we're not going to receive it. So I'm hoping that we get that up for our Clancy Street lift station. So let's meet with her on Friday if we can, spend a little time with her. Maybe start thinking about another project you want to try to put into the hopper that we can request funding for, and we'll move ahead on that. On January 30th, attended the presentation from Lansing Adams, our state tourism director. He informed us of some grant opportunities, other general information for our community. So it was nice to have that meeting with him and to finally get the information that we needed. And there's some good stuff in there, maybe that we can apply for the LaBelle Johnson Center and things of that nature. I forgot on my first part of the presentation to mention that we probably will get some funding for the LaBelle Johnson Center. We requested $500,000. I think it's got support for that. We won't know until it actually comes, but it looks pretty good. It also looks like we're going to get some funding for Marie Street from our 2 representatives, and at least we'll have enough money for planning and things of that nature. It's looking pretty positive that way. Again, we don't know definitively, but hopefully that's what will happen. If we have at least enough money for planning for Marie, then we can go forward. And you'll see later on that we're going to Colonias and some other places for additional funding. So I think that will set us up nicely to have another successful year in giving the money that we need. I think that concludes my report. So thank you. Rich, Grant, promoted you again.
Good morning, everyone. I don't really have anything specific to report on. I'll just say that in the last week or so, I've had the pleasure of working with Gary and Tracy on several routine items, and we're making progress. And I imagine sometime in the near future, we'll have some stuff on the agenda for this commission to consider, but everything seems to be going pretty smoothly at this point.
Right. Thank you. All right. That concludes our reports. Let's move on to the consent calendar, which consists of item 1, City Commission regular minutes of January 16th, 2026. Item 2, City Commission regular minutes for January 28th, 2026. Acknowledge golf course recreational advisory board minutes for January 5th, 2026. The January 2026 accounts payable and the take-home vehicle form for streets department. Do you have any questions or concerns concerning the consent calendar? All right, having none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
I second.
Have a motion, a second, Ms. Torres?
Honorable Ross Passport,
Aye.
Honorable Justin Mitchell,
Aye.
Honorable Ingo Hopner,
Aye.
Honorable Charles Gordon.
Aye. Okay, motion carries down. Okay, it is now a little after 10 o'clock. Is everybody doing okay? Do you want to keep moving or we need a break? Break.
I'm actually okay.
All right.
But I want to get out of here.
Let's move on to item F, ordinances, resolution and zoning. F1, discussion action, resolution number 36, 2526, budget adjustment request. Ms. Olguin, you're up.
Good morning again, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners. As you see, there's in the packet, there's a large amount of bars for this approval. Basically, as I had mentioned in the past, we've been trying to clean up the numbers from previous finance directors and whoever handled the budgets. So as we move forward, and I've been here a year, so we've come a long way, but there's still some ways to go. Some of the things we're adding to the bar are for for example, we budgeted a 5,000 for the animal shelter donations, but Tara received a few, like $858 more, so we're adjusting the budget to increase for her animal shelter donation fund, which is $5,885. And then we had two on item number 2. Do you want me to stop on each one or just go down?
Well, we'll ask as you go, so keep going.
On item number 2, we had two, well, the finance department, as I had mentioned in my report, we had our payroll specialist have an early retirement, which we're not prepared for. And the PD had a person leave their department as well. So these were payouts as part of the delayed comp. And then item number 3 is just the revenue or the expense that was made for the shop with the cop. We didn't know exactly how much money was going to be in until all the numbers were in. And this was the amount, it was $6,597, which was pretty good for the donations that they received in combination with the leftovers from last year. So we're just adjusting the budget for that. And then, so the items 4 down is, as I mentioned, this was budgets before I was here. So some of the numbers were not exact to the award documents. So this is basically an accounting process on our part and for transparency to show that we're fixing the numbers according to how they were supposed to initially be versus the way they were submitted. So this is moving forward. Hopefully after this cleanup, we won't have these kind of bars in the future, because I would like them to be exactly as the contract is listed. And I'm not sure exactly how these numbers got here, but we're cleaning them up now is what's happening. So this is basically for reporting and as you can see on the red where it says completed, the majority of these projects are already done. So these are just adjusting the numbers to clean them and cancel out. And then on number 7, well, that's kind of the same concept that's going on with that one as well. I don't know, if you look on the green is the increase and then the pinkish colors decrease. So that kind of shows you how we're doing it. And then on number 8 is the WISP 1 that we are increasing the budget to make sure the numbers are correct on that one as well. And number 9 is another adjustment or cleanup. And then number 10 down to the water is another adjustment that we were doing for the projects that were completed. And then the Foch Street project, for some reason we missed putting that in for the bar to have it in the numbers. So that's just adding it to make sure we have all the numbers that are complete for all the awards. And then the water state grant, that's to sorry, I have my other one right. Scratch the notes on. There's a lot. I'm gonna defer to Tracy on this one because I can't remember on the one, on number.
If I can look at it, for some reason I only have the monthly, and that's the same.
It's not.
Oh, so I think this is just another cleanup. So when we were transitioning budgets from previous years that were identified within different departments, this one here was combined, and so, yeah, Karen's just splitting that one
Which one
out.
are you on? I'm sorry, I didn't.
On the 387, well, it's number 10, but it's 3807034 32380. So that's right. So initially the funding sources were combined, which we're not supposed to technically do. So this is separating them the where they're supposed to be separated and identified as individual. And the Folk Street is just basically what I mentioned just a second ago. Make sure all the Folk Street funding is accurate and in the financial system.
And separated.
Separated is the keyword. And then the other one that we have is for the SJOA. It's item 1 on a separate document. And it's the next separated item. It's for the vehicle purchase of the $88,000 that was awarded. And I stand for any questions. And I know this is kind of like a little frustrating, but I have to do it in order to clean up the numbers.
There's an attachment at the end of your budget adjustments, which a page with a bunch of numbers on it with no reference. What's all that about?
Which one are you talking about?
It's page 156.
Yeah, I didn't. I was
You're talking about this sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah, what
Yeah,
is that?
worksheet.
That might have just been
Oh,
a part of the Excel sheet that was in the back, so just disregard that.
it might have just been.
That's it's a worksheet.
Okay,
It was
all right.
passed for development of the
Getting it
block.
in, I tried to attach it from their Excel sheet, and so it could be easier for you guys to read, so that's probably what happened, is it was just another extra page on there.
It's binary code.
Any questions?
No, that was my question.
Item number 2, the separation is money that we paid for folks that are retiring. That will be budgeted for next year, right? You'll anticipate who's going to retire and figure out how to budget that so we don't have to.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission, that's a tough question. The conversation amongst employees might be, I'm thinking about retiring. But if you're asking me to budget repairing a building or put money in deferred comp so that I can make sure if somebody decides to retire, I'm going to make that 0 and I'm going to put the money where I know that I'm going to spend it.
Right.
So that's what you have here, right? Is it's really hard to say, I really think Angela is going to retire. Let me figure out how many hours she's going to have on the exact day that she retires that we're going to owe her for, and just set that aside in a budget. So I'm going to say no. We're probably going to continue to operate like this. And when an employee decides it's their time and they want to move on, and we owe them some compensation for their sick leave or their vacation time, we'll just do it as an adjustment like this. It's just hard to budget.
Like for our department, Lindy just lucked out and somebody gave her a lot of money for
Just-
her house.
So you don't factor in when somebody gets eligible. You don't just automatically assume that, well, they're eligible, so they're probably going to go. Should we anticipate that? And part B of that question is that it's the tendency of employees to try to build up their numbers before they retire. And we should have policies in place that we should try to protect the city. So how does that balance work?
Well, number one, the first thing one of the things I kind of asked or instituted when we came is really to we put a notice out in July this year that we would not allow any accrual beyond the 240. And we're requiring and we're constantly asking staff, if you get up around 240, 230, you need to take time off, you need to make the time. So it feels like those that have been around a minute are averaging around 200. I would need to go in, Alona and I could work and look at this and find out how many. I don't feel like when I look at the leave calculator that we have a significant amount of employees that really have a lot of leave coming. You know, we have a lot of senior staff that have been around a lot, and then we have a lot of new staff. But I just would still say it would not be in our best interest to necessarily budget $10,000 from everyone's department in case we have somebody decide to leave, even if they didn't retire. If somebody worked for us for 4 or 5 or 6 years and had that, and they decided to take another job somewhere else, it could happen to us. So we just, we would look at that. Obviously, it's, you know, through my first year here, it's tough when you get those, but I don't know that that would be our best idea to budget, to set that that money aside.
Okay. I just thought it was a significant hit, so I'm just looking at it. All right. Okay, any other questions or concerns? All right.
And Mayor, I would just to support Jocelyn, so she had a lot to talk about here in the staff. And if you remember this year in the budget, we did create divisions amongst all of our projects, right? They're all in the 300 account. They all have, and then we found times when potentially, I think there was one at the one USDA where they budgeted it under USDA and then they budgeted it under WISP 1. So it's not a problem. It just ended up kind of getting as an entry into the accounting system twice. So just a lot of things like that. And then maybe the expenditures, if you go look, some of those are really low. There's a $1,800 change, right? We just didn't spend all the grant money. So you've got a line item open with a few dollars in it. And there's no reason to carry it. We ought to have a clean set of books and when those things go, and then that's really what you're looking at here. So, and I support the finance team did a good job and they continue to on cleaning these items up.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution number 36/2526 as presented.
A second.
Okay. The motion in 2 seconds.
Honorable Chaz Glenn.
Aye.
Honorable Ross Butler.
Aye.
Honorable Destiny Mitchell. Aye. Honorable Inga Faulkner.
Carried unanimously. Move on to item F2, discussion action resolution number 37/2526 budget adjustment request. Another one.
Sorry, that was the SJOA one.
Okay, yep.
And again, Mayor Pro Tem, just to support on this sheet, Jocelyn did advise you of this on the last, but we received emergency funding, SJOA did, and we are this is the fiscal agent.
Right.
So the funds came in, we need to account for it so we can get them to buy a new van.
Okay, good. All right, do we have any discussion? No, having none, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve this resolution number 37/2526 budget adjustment as sent.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, Doris.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Carries unanimously. F3, discussion action. Revised notice of intent and resolution number 38/2526 authorizing and approving the submission of a completed application for financial assistance and project approval to the New Mexico Finance Authority for the Colonias Infrastructure Fund. Ms. Alvarez.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners. We previously brought to you 2 notices of intents, both one for the electric department and one for Marie Street to apply for Colonias funding. This particular item pertains to the electric department. I'm bringing you back a revised notice of intent because we've decided to increase our request from 5 million to 12 million for the electric department. And with the application process, a resolution to submit application through Colonias is required.
Okay.
With that, I'll stand for any questions.
I would just add per the resolution, it's the city would be committed to a 10% match.
Right.
So I'm reading this, yeah.
Right, do we have any questions? No. You and I have had this discussion, Mr. Whitehead, but since we own our own utility, are we able to apply for Colonias funds? Have you figured that question out yet, or?
I won't know until this happens.
This happens.
So, as you know, we've been working real close with the Council of Governments. They have a grant writer that's able to support us. So we're using, Gwen has been working sometime with the electric department, trying to find avenues for, grants and funding spots that could help us. the executive director, J.R. Miho, is involved in this. He also sits on the Colonias board. So he's the reason that we've upped the ask. He requested that we go ahead and apply for the full amount that we can. We've moved the request into the housing side of the request for Colonias. And so we're really rolling the dice here to see if this isn't a funding source. So I can't answer you that we're going to be successful, but I feel some level of confidence since a member of board that sits on the Colonias board that reviews those applications has kind of guided us a little bit to think about how we might put in this application. So that's where we're at. The nice part from the water side, we could apply, but again, we will have a 10% grant. We'll have a 10% loan. Staff felt like, our plate is full with water at this moment, and we didn't want to, potentially be looking at those two costs again to the city, that additional cost. But the electric department is pretty solvent, and if we were fortunate to get the 12 million, we could easily handle the $1.2 million match to do that. And $12 million would be an incredible shot in the arm for our grid. So.
I remember during our assessment, most of our poles are more than 38 years old, so they have no valuation, and that entered into our decision-making process when we decided not to buy or not to sell the electric department. I think that was a good move. So you're looking at there's a total of $80 million available. 15% of that's around $12 million. What was the strategy of asking for the full 15%? Instead of just going half? Do you think we have a better shot at going half, or
again, I would just say that our representative from the Council of Governments, who sits on the Colonias board, gave us a strong indication that we should make the application for the full amount we're entitled to. So I would assume the impression would be that it's probably eligible for funding, and if we ask for all of it, the board could then come back and do their math, right? They could come up and we may get 1 million. We could get 6 million. So that was the intention that I took from our conversation with the director there.
And it seems like the request is really simple, just for poles, so it can't be used for anything else.
Oh, this could be used for everything. We're applying for it for system-wide grid improvements.
Okay.
So we would use it for poles, transformers, conductor. It's not wire. Bo, you're listening. Okay. Conductor. Yeah, we could use it. And then we also do have another grant in for the resiliency fund where we've applied for, I think, 2.5 million for our substation rehab. So we're attempting to find as many pots of money as we can. And we do have $1 million ask into the governor for a substation, for a transformer. So we're attempting to find any pot of money that might be available. The answers may be no. We may find out that they say, you're a municipally owned electric department. It's not eligible, but we won't know till we ask.
All right. No, I think it's a good ask. I'm just making sure. Sounds good. All right.
Okay.
Thank you. That's all my questions. Anybody else? Okay. If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I would like to make a motion to approve resolution 38-2526 and revise notice of intent as presented.
Second it.
The motion is second. Ms. Torres.
Honorable Inga Hopner.
Aye.
Honorable Charles Klein.
Aye.
Honorable Ralph Hassler.
Aye.
Honorable Dustin Mitchell.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Item F4, discussion action, resolution number 39-2526, authorizing and approval the submission of a completed application for financial assistance and project approval to the New Mexico Finance Authority for the Colonias Infrastructure Fund. Ms. Alvarez.
Thank you. As stated before, this is just one of the steps that's required to apply for Colonias funding. We have to have the resolution to complete the application and submit with the application. So this one is for Marie Street with a total project cost of 1.5 million. We're asking for a grant of 1.3 million, and that would require a 10% match of 136,000 or so, with a loan component of 136,000.
Okay.
That is stand for questions.
Questions, comments?
My first thought is, where do we stand with our ICIP to Marie Street for the funding we asked for in Santa Fe, along with this Marie Street improvement?
Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioner Glines. So as you saw, there was a process that goes into getting capital from Santa Fe. I think our three representatives have indicated they are putting some level of funding into the Marie Street. So we think we've arranged about 150,000 from them, which we requested it for planning, design, and construction, right? It's not gonna go far in the construction site, but you do it that way so you could use it for everything. So, you know, we hope that if that comes through, we would be ready to in July enter into a contract with someone to start the design work on Marie Street. And then this ask would then kind of come on top of that, right? Where we would know we would have a 1.5 million. Nice part about Colonia's funding is you can phase it. They're kind of okay with that as long as you do that. So, you know, we know 1.5 million is probably not going to get Marie Street done like we would like to. There are 3 major water lines that run on the west side of Marie Street. We have our affluent line. We have the main service line that fills the tanks. And then we have a service line that feeds the area there. But other than that, the water side of Marie Street's pretty simplistic. It generally crosses there at Copra, and then an access there on Foch. So that's where we would be on those. So that's the vision. We get that 150. We'll do the planning design, kind of get that kicked off. And then part 2 of that, we do know that dam on Marie Street needs. Commissioner Fall was adamant that we get that redesigned. I spoke with some engineers on how we would do hydrology on that to take care of that, and so we could use that study for part of that as well. Hopefully that answers your question, or if you have additional follow-up, I know.
Thank you.
Okay.
If we do get some funding from our legislatures, would that be able to be used for match?
No, capital outlay cannot be used for match funds.
We're gonna have to come up with that anyway.
We would have to come up with that. Streets, we end up with about 300, just a little under 300,000 a year off of the gross receipt tax that we have for street funding. So that's what we'll be using this year to fix some roads. We're going to use that to help us pay for the street sweeper so that we could get to the match on this amount.
Okay, all right. Okay. All right. Any further questions? Having none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution 39/25/26 as presented.
I'll second it.
Okay, Ms. Torres?
Honorable Ralph Hessler.
Aye.
Honorable Destiny Mitchell.
Aye.
Honorable Ingo Hopner.
Aye.
Honorable Asbein.
Aye. Carried unanimously. Item 5, discussion action resolution number 40/25/26, approve resolution and purchase agreement pertaining to the sale of 612 East 2nd Street and the consequences, New Mexico. Mr. White.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission, again, in your packet, you have the information. We, early last year, this individual reached out to us and made us an offer. This property is, the city took this over many years back, 2017, I think, if I have the number right. We have several properties that are sitting on our inventory that we begin to need to figure out a process to move forward to liquidate those and take some proposals. This individual made us an offer last year of $10,000. In looking at the appraisal, looking at the piece of property, kind of my first instinct was probably worth a little more than that, but I met with the individual. We had a good conversation. We made a counter proposal at $15,000. And then the individual kind of said it wasn't timely for him, didn't feel like he could do it. He has since come back and has made a counter offer matching that $15,000 offer. We think everything is in order from his original proposal. We've looked at it. The city does have the ability under $25,000 to sell a piece of property. It is compliant. And then it also complies. We do have the ability to sell at less than appraised value. So our recommendation is to move forward and accept the purchase agreement. We didn't think there was any reason to present this in executive session. This is a pretty straightforward proposal and offer. So with that, I'll stand for additional questions. And
I have one question. Are there any buildings on this property?
there are no buildings. And we maintain it yearly. We have to keep the weeds and those kind of things. It's a nice piece of property. It's a complete vacant piece of land.
Okay.
I'll just elaborate one legal point, just to go forward with what Mr. White had said. Yes, you have the legal right to sell property below the appraised value pursuant to 3-54-1B. And I think the 6th whereas in the resolution is the important aspect of that. Here it works, you can sell something, you can sell property below the appraised value as long as you put forth in the resolution your reasons for doing so. And here we have said that the city has advertised and marketed real property on numerous occasions over the past several years. We've not received any other reasonable offers, and we're not optimistic that a more favorable offer will be forthcoming in the future. So that's, I think, the reasons as to why you're going forward. that's why that was important to put that in there, I thought.
Yeah, I think so.
And Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission, it would be one of my comments, when we had this on the agenda at a year ago, I received one call after the meeting inquiring about the property, and that they never came back. So again, I indicated, our first thing would be, to be honorable. If somebody comes in and makes an offer on a piece of property, we should see that to its full, make a decision, but no one came back after it was published and offered in the conversation. So we've not received any other inquiries or offers on this particular piece of property. The property owner lives in the neighborhood. He has a home. It's connected to this person's property. So it'll make a nice connection for what they're doing in the neighborhood.
No, it makes sense. And I remember the correspondence we received before, and it was good for us not to sell it at the time. So, hey, made a little bit more money.
We got closer.
And if there's no further questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I wasn't on the page.
So Mayor, let me just reiterate that the offer to us is $15,000 in total. So we'll have some closing costs and those kind of items, and then we'll pick a title company if the commission approves this, and we would have those costs with it.
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 402526 and approve the purchase agreement.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
A second.
Doris?
Honorable Destiny Mitchell,
Aye.
Honorable Ingo Hopner,
Aye.
Honorable Charles Goins,
Hi.
Honorable Ralph Wexler.
Aye, motion carries unanimously. Before we go to new business, let's take a 10-minute break. It is now 10:31. We'll reconvene at 10:45.